Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel. I wanted to get a video out and talk about the revelation that just came out with our lovely Lady C. And I think it's so great that we have a source like Lady C to rely on to get us the information that we so need. We need to have reliable information that is not going to be slanted or biased, because we want information that is going to come out very true from relevant sources and people. And we know we're getting a version of what has happened from reputable people. Because we know Lady C ain't gonna come out and just start gossiping and just saying things that are not true. So this most recent revelation about the person that made comments that were not aligned with Harry and Meghan is Princess Anne. Harry and Meghan claimed that a relative said that there were concerns and conversations about how dark Archie's skin would be. Harry decided that on the slimmest of hints about culture, that it actually referred to color. And this is where it all got started, because Princess Anne was referring to culture, not color. I can see this happening because Princess Anne is a woman who is such a hard worker. She is someone who is down to get her hands dirty, do the work, not complain about it, but just get on with it. And she can spot a fake a mile away. And she spotted Meghan Markle the moment she met her. She knew, something is wrong here. There's something wrong with this woman. And she knew it. And I think that's what most of us saw too. We saw a woman that just was not authentic. We saw somebody who was always trying to jive for, getting ahead, being the first, wanting to get out front and do this and do that. She was too anxious and too bold to put herself in the forefront, and not willing to be quiet and listen and still and to observe and to learn and to listen. But she was very quick to try to make an impression. It's like me, let me do it. I want to go. I'm his wife. I deserve this. I'm an American. And part of this, talking about the cultural things that Lady C was mentioning about how Princess Anne saw that she was just not the right kind of American. And I can understand that, because when you have people that are the California type, the ones that are very motivated by celebrity, the kind of person that you're dealing with that is a typical California actress type is a different kind of an American. This is an American who is really self-absorbed with, what can you do for me? I am going to engage in a relationship with you because I need you to give me something back in return. I will sell my body. I will marry you. I will do whatever it takes to get you to help bring my self-obsession with being recognized as a famous person, a celebrity, an actor, an actress. This is a special type of American. And what I can imagine happening is Anne saw this. Anne saw this girl who was very needy, in that she was seeking some kind of gratification from this family to help propel her. She needed them to like her. She was desperate for them to like her. And Anne sniffed it. She was like, I smell desperation. That's what she said. That's what she smelled, and that's what she knew it was. You cannot get something like this past someone like a Princess Anne, because she is too raw in her thinking. She is too raw with getting the job done. She is too raw in what she knows from her experience from meeting all kinds of people. She had that innate feeling that said something is wrong here. Something is wrong. And I can assure you that because Meghan was an actress when she met Prince Harry, she still wanted to be an actress after she met and married Prince Harry. And Princess Anne sensed it. And you can say, well, there are other people like Princess Grace, who was an actress, and other people who have wanted to do things like be an actor that aren't what I'm saying. But you have to understand that this is a girl who grew up essentially with a father and a mother who gave her everything. She never really had to accept that sometimes you just don't get what you want, because in her world, in her life, all she had to do really was turn her charm on, and she got what she wanted. She was able to essentially go through life pretty much without much rejection in terms of her basic needs. She could always get what she needed. And she knew she just had to turn that little extra charm on for Prince Harry, and she was going to be able to get what she wanted. Now she was trying to make this happen with the family. And when it came down to meeting the family, like Lady C said, she was able to charm the Queen and Prince Charles, because Prince Charles was just like, got you a good one. You got you a good one. He was like, okay, yeah, go ahead. He was like cheering them on. So you can't really look at Prince Charles as being somebody who's going to give you a realistic observation of the woman that Prince Harry was going to get. Like he could kind of feel and dig it. You know what I'm saying? And the Queen was just like, oh, isn't she lovely? She's lovely. And, she's just saw how cute she was and how pleasant and smiling. And, the Queen, she's just been there, done that. She's tired. She's like, okay, Harry, if this is what you want, you can have it. Okay. Nice to meet you, my love. Just all that kind of good stuff. But Princess Anne, she knows. She's down for like what you want. Like I can see Anne giving her the side eye all day long. So we have to understand that they wanted to change the narrative about this being a race thing, because that's the only way they're going to win. That is essentially the only way Meghan can win, because she knows her attitude is jack. She knows it, but she don't care either. She don't care. So Prince Harry, they're taking these stories, and Harry's seeing that you're a racist, and he's got reason to believe what he believes about people being racist, because he's been white his whole life, and he's probably seen a lot of things that were racist. So that's his default mechanism. Racist, because you're not accepting my woman, right? But it's the wrong kind of woman. And I said that from the very beginning. She is the wrong woman. American, of color, divorced. She's the wrong one of that, in that category, however you want to put it. And it ain't got nothing to do with the color of her skin. And this is how you fall into a really bad precedence, when you allow people to just say racism. And when you have the news journalists in America immediately siding with Meghan that it's because of racism, you allow a Meghan type character to sneak her way through the crack, because you only looking at race and you're not looking at her character. So, and this is what makes it really bad for people who have bad attitudes and who are bad characters. Because it's like you are just going to essentially allow the person of bad character and faith to sneak in, because you quick to look at race. And you're not looking a lot more deeper at what is really the actual issue. And Meghan is the type of California girl in the modern day age. Hear me now. The modern day age, when it's about getting what you want by any means necessary. And if Meghan had to throw people under the bus, throw them under the bus to get what she wanted, she was going to do that. Because that's the small price to pay for getting what she wants and needs, and what she thrives off of. Her husband's constantly giving her the adulation that she needs and wants, and her parents and, her friends and whoever. So this is just another extension of what she has been accustomed to her whole life. And then when she suddenly met this opposition, she didn't know how to react to it. She was like, what? What? Racist. Racist. She's like, oh, they see into me now. Quick, say something. Racist. Yeah, yeah. You're racist. Yeah. I'm black. I'm black. Don't tell me I ain't black. I identify as black. And she knew she could default to that racism. And that's what they did. Because Princess Anne was keeping it real. And Meghan knew she had a live one. She had one that was not going to fall for her charm and her quick to please attitude. Because if Meghan were a real person that was deeply real inside, like really down to the bone, a good natured person, that is something that you just have, and people can sense if you have it, or they can say, hey, something ain't right. They may not be able to pinpoint it exactly, but they can feel something just quite ain't right here. And that's what happened. And the fact that Harry is going to go along with it being a whole racist thing means he don't know how to deal with it. He don't know how to deal with it, because imagine this. Imagine had it been Cressida or Crescenda or Kelsey, whatever. What's the girl's name? I don't know, with the C. And people didn't like him. What would his default be? Oh, well, they just don't like you. But when you have this convoluted difference of a woman that can have a default reason for blame, they're going to default to the racist. That's just what's going to happen. And unless someone's coming out being a clear racist, where they make it very clear about the things that they say or do, you can't just call people out by saying they're racist just because they don't like your behavior. That is a bad precedence for people to not ever be accountable for their behavior. Black people especially, because they're the ones that are going to be able to call racism. And at some point, that racism becomes a default, and people are never accountable for their behavior because they always have that default mechanism. So for me, I think the situation, the story, what happened, it got nasty, it got ugly, and they just simply wanted to have a scapegoat, and they wanted to say racism, and they did not care if it was racism or not. They just knew they had to make that the reason. That had to be the reason. And that's what they did. So, and the other thing is, when you have an American like Meghan, she's so self-absorbed with who she is as an American and where I come from. Because when we grow up in America, we are always taught that we are the best in the whole world. Nobody is better than America. Nobody. And we grow up with this sense of entitlement. It's true. We do. And I have some stories about this, but I don't talk about me on here, only on my members page. But I can assure you, there are some stories that I have where I thought the same way Meghan thought, but I was quickly put in my place. And so Meghan can't appreciate the fact that she is not number one. She's not number one as an American, as the married to the spare, that there's this whole family that becomes before her. She can't even be appreciative of wanting to be more engaged into their culture of the United Kingdom for the sake of learning and getting along and succumbing to the fact that I now learned to be more accommodating to this foreign country. That is a foreign concept to her. And Anne can sense it. She knows. And I can assure you that that's exactly how it was, because this is how we are taught as Americans. And not only that, but as an actress, you want to times that by 10. Because when you're an actor, you are essentially saying that you are the best at what you do. You have to have this persona. This is how you become an actor, because you're able to go out in front of people and you're able to be so self-assured of who you are, and I am the best and I'm ready for my close-up. And this is why some people have a hard time with the life of an actor. Because there is a certain persona. It's that very ambitious, roll people over, give me what I want, confident, strong, vibrant person that is able to succeed through all of the things that come in your way on your pursuit of being a celebrity or being an actor. Mostly an actor, because people should do it because they have a love, not because they want to become famous. But it's just a special kind of person. And because Meghan was an actress when she met Harry, she's still in that mindset, that headspace of like, I'm all that. And she never wanted to be the kind of girl that was more humble. And I love my husband. I'm going to respect him and his country and his people and his family. And that's not how she saw things. And she just could not adapt culturally, nor did she want to. And Princess Anne knew it. She knew it. And that's why I think that piece came out with Princess Anne, where she said that it was good for them to want to leave, because she knows that this is the personality type that I'm going to not get along with. So she's like, get going, gone, y'all, because y'all don't need to be here in this royal family. And that just comes with experience, I think, from Princess Anne's, just really knowing the customs and how it's just so very different than being in America. I just think that Harry and Meghan have come into a situation where they can play on the dumbing down of the American people, their ignorance to what it means to be a royal. They can essentially come in and say all of these things that they know not to be true, because they are playing on the ignorance of the American people. And the American people are not going to question Meghan's behavior. They're not going to question how she assimilated into the royal family. They're not going to question how she didn't adapt to the rules and the customs. They're not going to really look at her coming into the royal family, being taught things for 6 months on how to be a royal, and that she never really pursued the learning to try to be better. She kind of just dismissed the things that she learned. Like the American person that is looking at Meghan's claims of racism is not really going to look at all of these things that you and I know. They're not going to look at it. So she is going to run roughshod on this, and she is going to go full throttle on people being racist to her, because she knows she can get away with it, because most Americans are not going to understand anything about the royal family. They just know there's a lady that's the queen, and she does this, and she's got people doing a little curtsy thing to her, and like that's all they know. Like they don't know nothing. And Meghan knows this. And this is why when she was in that interview, she says, oh, as an American, we don't really know much about all this. This is just something that, we're just not brought up knowing anything about the royals. What? The royals? Like, I know nothing about the royals. But as we all know, there is a pocket of Americans like myself who really want to know everything about the royals. We want to know all the customs and how things work because we're enthralled with the ideal of a monarchy. But there's a huge demographic of American people that are just ignorant to the royal family. And it's just like, hey, you know, there's that lady, the queen over there in that England. And yeah, that prince, he's a prince. And that girl, that American girl over there, she got herself a prince. Ain't that cute? Yeah, they racist. Those royals, they racist. I know they's racist. You know, and they be like, well, is she black? She don't look black. Oh, her mama's black. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, those royals, they's racist. They racist. Like, I can hear them now. They just talking out the side of their mouth. Don't know what they're talking about. But they gonna be quick to call racism and don't know nothing about nothing. So that's what they're playing on. And let's just face it, Harry, you know, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? Like, that's what people say. I don't know him. I mean, that's what people say. So he fit right in with the Americans. They just like, oh, come on, Harry, we gonna take you in as our own. We just gonna be all dumb about the world and everything and the customs, because we know what, we's Americans. We's the best at everything. We ain't got to know nothing about those foreigners. We ain't got to know nothing about nobody, because in America, it's all about us. We do what we want to do. And we just got it like that because we the best in the whole world. America, the best place in the world. You know, like, that's just how they talk. I know. I live here. I grew up with them. And it wasn't until I left to go live abroad and in different foreign countries, I was like, wait a minute, something wrong. Something's wrong here. Like, why they always say that we the best place in the world? And when I go to other places, like, they better than us. It's a lie. Now, I'm not dissing where I come from, but at the same time, America is not the best at everything. Like, we have a lot of growing to do. We have a lot of things that we need to, like our education in America, our transportation systems. Like, we have so many things that we need to improve on. It's just messed up. It's just messed up. And Harry, he still sleeps. Somebody need to go wake him up, shock him out of his ignorance, and get his butt back over in the UK, because we just about tired of him. So in the end, it really just comes down to the idea that someone will have a preconceived notion about you, who you are. Just by meeting you, they'll get a sense of who you are. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But the idea that Princess Anne had sensed this behavior of not being quite the right American to fit in with this type of family only goes to prove us that Meghan essentially proved Princess Anne correct. She showed Princess Anne exactly who Princess Anne thought she was. And in that sense, Meghan failed. But unfortunately, she's got a weapon of racism that she'll try to use again and again for anybody who tries to question her character. She will always try to use this weapon of racism because she doesn't have the character to show that it's nothing but racism. She can't show them otherwise. She can't. Because she knows she doesn't have the attitude, the character of someone who is modest and noble and has a sense of duty and pride and humility. She doesn't have that. All she has is that little weapon of racism she can attack people with. And this is what I have to say to that. Meghan doesn't even get to say that she's ever experienced racism, as far as I'm concerned. Because when I look at her, she doesn't experience racism the way people who have dark skin experience racism. She's essentially using something that does not belong to her. It doesn't belong to her. It doesn't belong to someone that looks like her. because she's never really experienced true, real racism. And I say that she's using something that does not belong to her. And how dare she do that? Because a woman who is a lot darker, with a lot more ethnic looking hair and features, is going to have a completely different experience as a black woman than Meghan Markle. And it is almost an insult that everyone who agrees that Meghan experienced racism has been lied to by a woman who never even said that she was black until it benefited her to be black.